A question coming in from Black185 in our digital community said, do you think, I'm assuming, LGBT community and the black church can coexist?
Absolutely.
Let me push that question, because that's sort of an obvious yes. Church ain't turning nobody away. How should the black church and LGBT community exist?
I think it's going to be diverse from church to church. Every church has a different opinion on the issue, and every gay person is different. And I think that to speak the church, the black church or white church or any kind of church you want to call it, are all the same is totally not true. And all gay people are not the same. The types of relationships that are afforded are based on the types of people in each individual case. Yeah. And LGBTs of types and sorts have to find a household of worship that reflects what your views are and what you believe, like anybody else. And the church should have the right to have its own convictions and values. If you don't like those convictions and values, you totally disagree with it, don't try to change my house, move into your own and establish that sort of thing and find somebody who gets what you get about faith. And trust me, I've talked to enough LGBT, they are not all the same.
Oh, for sure. Any more than all Christians.
No.
But how do we, first of all, has your thinking evolved on this?
Evolved and evolving. Evolved and evolving.
Where were you and where are you?
I think that where I am is to better understand, the church bought into the myth that this was a Christian nation. And once you get past that, which a lot of people are going to criticize me because they're still going to think it's a Christian nation, which is a whole different show. Mm-hmm. But once you begin to understand that democracy and that a republic actually is designed to be an overarching system to protect our unique nuances, then we no longer look for public policy to reflect biblical ethics. If we can divide, or what you would call separation of church and state, then we can dwell together more effectively. Because atheists, agnostics, Jews, all types of people, Muslims pay into the government then cannot reflect one particular view over another just because we are the dominant group of religious people in the country, because those numbers are changing every day. We need a neutralized government that protects our right to disagree with one another and agree with one another.
Mm-hmm. So that covers what happens outside the church.
Right.
Inside the church, has your thinking biblically, scripturally, hermeneutically shifted at all? And the reason I ask that is because I talk to a lot of ministers now, and there was that big conference out in South Africa in the last couple of weeks where people from all over the world were there, and this is one of the issues that came up along with race and other things. And one of the questions was, is there a way to approach Christian tradition, Christian scripture, in light of a new understanding of LGBT? For example, 18th century, there might have been a particular understanding of what slavery meant in relation to Paul, in relation to the New Testament, et cetera. That has shifted to the point that it is socially accepted that irrespective of what text says literally, we don't support slavery as a body, right? And even though it varies church, most churches don't support slavery. Right. Might be a few out there that do. We don't get invited to those. But similarly, there's room for that same kind of shift.
I think that shift has to go on behind the closed doors of the church, because I think in the mainstream America, anybody who doesn't agree with you, we have a derogatory name to call you. And I think it oversimplifies the complexity of text. The fact that you have fidelity to the scriptures as you have been taught does not mean that you're necessarily homophobic or any other kind of phobia, but yet in mainstream America, anybody who doesn't line up with a particular worldview, we give them a name to ostracize them, much like we were given names to ostracize us. This name calling does not depict the struggle that many people have theologically. I think the argument has to be theological and not sociological. The fact that the world has turned that way doesn't mean that the word has changed that way. The argument for clergy, fundamental clergy, has to be a theological argument. It cannot be a sociological one.
If I wasn't out of time, I would push you on this. And one day I'm going to bring you back just to talk about this, because I'm fascinated by your take on it. And I want to not just challenge you on it, I want to understand your thinking on this, because the thing I appreciate about you most is that you operate in good faith. You're honest, you're transparent, and about your struggle with these things, and about your convictions about
Well, it's a complex issue. It's a real complex issue, and it was in the Bible days. Sexuality versus spirituality. Paul spends a lot of time wrestling back and forth, trying to understand, should a woman wear her head covered? Should you cut your hair? I mean, they grappled back then, and we're grappling now, because we are humans, and we are flawed, and we're not God. Once you understand you're not God, you leave yourself an out clause to grow.
I know that's right.
To grow.
Shalom, all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone by Shem Rakak Wadash. My name is Yakaba from Plain Tables Camp in Philly. This is Isaiah 3 and 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. And the reason why you have so many women overrunning the so-called black church is because there's no order in the plantation Christianity church. All right, as Yahweh and his son Yahushua set in order, the women are not supposed to rule over men, so this is out of order. All right, and the T.D. Jakes and other so-called leaders in the plantation Christianity church, they cause Israel to err, all right, and destroy the way of their path. So if they stay on that path, they're going to be destroyed in the famines, the race riots, the pestilence, the chariots, nuclear fire. Says Yahweh standeth up to plead and standeth to judge the people, and there's going to be a judgment. All right, here it is. It says it's 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. It says, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind. I only want two words from here. Adulterers means to alter, to change. My khas. One who is faithless toward the power. All right, an apostate. All right, so you go away from worshiping the Lord the way you're supposed to worship the Lord. Soft to the touch, a boy kept for homosexual relations with a man. A male who submits his body to unnatural lewdness. All right, effeminate. There's another word right here. Abusers of themselves of mankind. We got no coitus. One who lies with a male as with a female, a sodomite, homosexual. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the power? Be not deceived. All right, it says be not deceived, because they're making you think that that is a path, an acceptable path, when it's not. Clearly tells you here. Be not deceived, so they're lying to you. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves of mankind. First Timothy 1 and 10. For whoremongers, let's see. Set up a little bit. It says, but we know that the law is good if a man use it lawfully, knowing this, that the law is not made for the righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for the sinners, for unholy and profane and murderers and fathers, murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers and manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind. Okay. For manstealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. All right. So you have a lot of them out there. This is why the law is necessary. All right? Because if you don't follow it, you have a high probability, a high chance of being destroyed here in Babylon when it's set to blaze, or wherever else you are in the world, when the judgment comes, when the fire comes. All right. I believe the same word is there for the Father himself of mankind. Yep, one who lies with the males as with females, a sodomite, homosexual. And that goes both ways. For women also. I'll close it out with this. Read this precept again. Isaiah 3:12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and to destroy the way that pass. So if you want to follow the plantation Christianity church, this is what they accept. This is what they say can coexist, which is complete lie. All right. Hope you edified. To the next lesson, shalom.
The LGBT community and the black church can coexist.
Absolutely.
Let me push that question, because that's sort of an obvious yes. Church ain't turning nobody away. The LGBT community and the black church can coexist.
Absolutely.
Let me push that question, because that's sort of an obvious yes. Church ain't turning nobody away.